Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Janine McGowan. It is Saturday, the 3rd of April, and happy Easter weekend if you're celebrating that. I've got no wig today, showing off my real hair, just for some variety. But we have some cross stitch to talk about, some spring to talk about, ice cream, and a puppy today. So good to see you all. Launching right into it, stitching in action. There are two great stitching in actions to show off this week. The first is summer quilts, and that's a drum that I had done last year before, quarantine. Anyway, Sherry S. had modified it into a narrower, taller drum, so we've got a great picture of that here. I love it. It looks very Stacy Nash to me, which is quite a thrill. The next one is Garden Magic, and before I show what Candace has done, I'm gonna go straight into what Candace has done. Candace G stitched this. I'm gonna put a good picture in here. She took out the crow on the watering can in the original design and stitched it up with a representation of her daughter's dog, Charlie, who passed away last year, and so she put a beautiful lab in there and actually stitched in a leaf to give him something to be playing with in his lovely play bow, and put a little tuft of Charlie's hair into it. So what a special thing for her daughter. And then she took the little crow that she had not put in the original design and made a separate little thing out of it. I don't know if that's going to be an ornament or what, but I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Candace. I always love to see what everyone does with something when they make it their own. So that actually leads me to a question. This is a series I've done 2 installments of, and I had originally planned to do several, but I just haven't gotten around to releasing any yet. And so I'm going to show the 2. This is the first one, and you'll see this is the one that Candace G modified for her daughter. So here the crow has become her ornament, and the watering can has become that great puppy that she's done. Just a fun, cheerful magic of growth. And then the second one in the series so far was called Spring Magic. And so you can see very spring flowers, bird on a fence, person with rain boots and a slicker for the nice spring rain. So I'd like to hear from you. What do you think? What more? Don't really care. Wait and see. Just let me know what you think. All right, next up is what I'm stitching, which frankly is not too much right now. I haven't been able to get much personal stitching. I think I stitched 1 element into quarantine pandemic sampler, but there's not really a lot to show. So I'm skipping straight onward and going to Stash Spotlight. So this week I wanted to talk about one of my favorite sampler quotes of all time, and it's from this book, Delaware Discoveries. I've got it all marked up here. This is the sampler, and it's going to be a little bit hard to read, but it's beautiful, faded colors, lovely reproduction. The reason that I love this, though, is because of the verse, and it is probably my favorite verse on any sampler ever, although who knows what I'll discover next. So I'm just going to take a minute and read it because it makes me happy every time. Here we go. And this is from Ruth Ann Foster in 1834. This is what she stitched in the middle of her sampler. With anxious thoughts my bosom heaved when I this piece began, resolving it should finished be upon the neatest plan. How far in this I did succeed, you reader will decide, as your opinion is the test by which I must abide. Ruth Ann, I think you did an excellent job, and being only 12, you're still making me laugh 180 years later, so well done. I hope that everyone who sees something I stitch will be as excited about it as I am about hers. So I wish that was in the public domain. I don't know the rule. I would feel reluctant to use something like that that's so personal to her that I've never seen anywhere else. So I would love to know more about how that particular verse came to be, but yeah, that pretty much encapsulates how I embark on just about every stitch. So again, well done, Ruth. All right, the world around. This is the last week pussy willows. Last time, I promise. But they have actually fully bloomed, and we got a lot of days of 70-degree temperatures, so the bees were out. It's still, actually, this week was the first week we had almost every night forecasted above freezing. So the bees were out, and I got some video. It's really hard for my phone to capture the video of the bees, their sound that they make, because there's always a little bit of a breeze, and the microphone just picks up the breeze. So I'm going to put it in here while I'm talking without any sound, but you can at least see some of the bees buzzing around. And I wish I could, I wish I could show you how it sounds as well as my poor attempt at capturing how it looks. But we'll take a little break so you can see that, and I'll be right back. Yes, the pussy willows are almost done, but the bees are getting every single last drop that's in them. And yeah, it's really, really pretty. The other plants in the garden are starting to go as well. So I think the pussy willow's been the only game in town for a long time. And now forsythias are opening, and some of the trees are starting to bud out. The lilac's a little bit further behind, but there will be more options for the pollinators coming up very soon. All right. We had a lot of people, when they were talking about spring in the comments, talk about robins, and so I've been on the lookout for robins. We do actually have quite a few coming through. I see them when I'm out walking the dogs, and Rye, for some reason, is particularly focused on them right now. I don't know if it's because they're new to her or they move differently from the other birds she's used to seeing, but she's very intent on them when we see them out in the park. So it's been lots of fun. All right, questions. I didn't have any questions from you, but I have a question for you. As I've mentioned before, I'm going to be presenting at the Silver Needle this July, and I'm very excited about it. I've had one vaccination, so I'll have my second one before then, and should be hopefully safe to be around other people, which I'm very excited about. However, there are 2 days of instruction between myself and Teresa Kogut. Yay, I get to meet Teresa Kogut. And so I'm wondering how that time ought to be filled. I've never actually attended a retreat with a presenter, except I had just signed up for one and then quarantine happened. And so that one was done by Zoom, and I was really struggling with my mental health that particular day. And so I honestly don't remember a lot of it. So that was a tough one. I can't really go off of that, and knowing that it was a Zoom means it was different anyway. So I'd love to hear from some of you who have attended retreats and have things that you liked that they did or that you hated that they did. You know, do they talk a little bit about the design, since it's a new design? It's not historical. I don't have a lot of background to put into it, although I can certainly talk about the process. And there will be some finishing stuff to talk about, obviously taking questions from people, but then sort of what's the expectation? Do you like it when people or presenters talk quite a bit? Do you like it when they spend most of their time roaming the room so they can talk to you individually? Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. What you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd want to see more of. So let me know so I can help get prepared for hopefully seeing at least 140 of you in Oklahoma this summer. All right, best thing this week is ice cream. I love ice cream. I always have. But recently I finally broke down and got an ice cream maker, because I've wanted one for ages and I just never really was willing to put the money in. I wanted one where you didn't have to freeze the bowl beforehand. It would do all of the work. So we got one. And the first couple weeks, I was a little disappointed because, you know, you get the recipe book that comes with the ice cream maker, and it says you can do it 2 ways. One with no eggs. You just put everything in and it makes ice cream. And it's actually quite nice at the beginning, but after it's been in the freezer for a day, it's really hard and, I don't know, kind of granular, not great. The other option is if you use it to make a custard and then put everything in the ice cream maker, which I did, but it adds a ton of time because you have to make a custard, cool a custard. I'm not great at making custard. And so there again, and after all that work, I still didn't like it very much. And it's ice cream, you know, there's no point eating it if you don't really like it. So I finally got another book from Ben & Jerry's about how they make their ice cream, and they were doing it a different way, but they weren't cooking it first, even though it had eggs. And so I was a little confused by that and not quite willing to take a chance. Then I finally stumbled on the internet using pasteurized eggs. So I got the pre-pasteurized eggs in the little, container like milk, and have been making it according to their directions that way. And I'm glad to say I have finally cracked ice cream. So now I can make all kinds of flavors. My poor husband and son, I'm like, hurry up and finish that one. I want to make something different. They're eating as much ice cream as they can. But it's really fun for us. It's, one of the little joys that you need to get through every day sometimes. And sometimes it's just ice cream with random things put in it because we can. So that's the best thing this week. Actually, it reminds me a lot of a great story. When the first time I took my son to Dairy Queen, so he was quite young, I think 4 or 5, and he got one of their, the cones with the dips, and so it's this tall. He's so excited, and it's very close to our house. So by the time we get home, he's just barely gotten into the top layer. And we get up to the door, put the key in the door, start to open it, and our dog Barley at the time sticks not even his head, but I'm pretty sure just his tongue out, reaches through the gap, grabs the top of the ice cream, yanks it back inside, and my poor son is just sitting there staring at what used to be this incredible ice cream cone, and now is just a blank symbol of despair. So at least none of the dogs are going to steal the ice cream out of the freezer when we make it. So that's my ice cream story. All right, giveaway from last week. As I started talking, about 3 minutes into the show, I realized that I hadn't drawn the giveaway winner from last week. It was for the 3 lovely silk flosses from Gloria, and so I'm going to actually take a quick little break here in a minute and insert the name of the winner after I draw it very, very fast from everyone who was kind enough to mention their favorite things related to spring. So we'll just pop that in, and then if you can get in touch with me, whoever you are, mysterious winner, and let me know your address, I'll send that off to you. So I'll take a break here, put that in, and be right back. All right, I'll be more organized next time. It's been a little topsy-turvy lately, but I'll take it. The giveaway this week is particularly fabulous, I'm just gonna say, because this is a whole packet from the Magnificent Stephanie of Lindy Stitches, and it is not just Edna Goes to Brunch, which I love, also the beautiful overdyed flosses for Edna Goes to Brunch. You get a Lindy mini, isn't that cute? Called Before the Ball with that little mouse. I wish I had that. You get one of her awesome things to put on the back. And you get this fabulous Edna Goes to Brunch project bag with the little bird watching binoculars and some candy from Stephanie herself. I didn't steal any because I've got all this ice cream to eat. But I'm going to actually take a break and put in a good picture of this with a background of some birds from my own yard, just to put you in the mood. But while you're watching that, you can think about what you want to say, because the code word you'll need to use to win this is brunch. So be right back. All right, so use the word brunch. We're hopeful that we'll actually get to see people, maybe do something like have brunch in public with other people, brunch that we didn't make ourselves. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, use that word. Tell me what you want to eat at your brunch, who you want to have your brunch with, that you hate brunch and you only want to eat pizza, whatever. Use the word. You'll be entered for this absolutely wonderful packet, which I kind of wish I could keep myself. But I will get a copy of Edna Goes to Brunch at least. All right, announcements. That's me wrapping up. Looking forward to some fun summer releases, including a joint project with Stephanie from Lindy Stitches. So those will be coming out, I believe, in May. Might do some teasers a little bit earlier, but we'll have to double check the timing on that one. Rye's birthday is also coming up at the end of this month. She'll be officially 1 year old. So either next Flosstube or the first one in May, I'll go ahead and do a highlight reel of her greatest hits from the first year. She's definitely becoming more of a greyhound, less of a puppy. It's nice to see, and it mostly manifests in sleeping a lot, which is really nice to see. So eventually it might be harder to make puppy videos, but for right now we've still got plenty of material to work with. Thank you all for joining me. Puppy video is coming after this, but this is the end of the life and cross stitch and ice cream talk. So I really appreciate your taking the time to join me today, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Bye.